Hello, this is the co-design activities training. I'm Katie, I'm one of the Listen Up workers.
I'm Alison, I'm a peer worker on the Listen Up project.
And I'm Jane, and I'm another worker on the Listen Up project.
Acknowledgement of country. We want to acknowledge the Turrbal Niagara people and Meanjin. They are the traditional owners of the land we are on today. We would like to pay our respects to their elders past and present. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land.
So today we're here to talk about some of the activities that we used in the co-design phase of the Listen Up project. So this was when we were asking the experts what they thought services and workers could do to better meet their needs. So all of the activities that we use in these groups are often used in other psychoeducational groups as well as in counselling. So could be used in lots of different ways depending on what your role is.
That's good, Jane. Run sheets. We use the same run sheet process for every workshop. Following the same pattern of activities each time made participants feel safe knowing what was coming next. Also helpful for peer workers, aka me, to remember what comes next. Check, and we did this after the acknowledgement of country.
So we're going to go through one of the check-in games that we used, which was
likes and dislikes now.
And we did this game in a whole variety of ways, but we're going to show you the original version. So why did we do this, Alison?
To find out what members in the group liked and disliked.
Yeah, so we did this as well because a lot of people with intellectual disability might find it difficult to build relationships in a group setting. So a lot of people said they were nervous about coming to group with people they didn't know. So this game allowed people to find things they have in common from the get-go. So particularly good for groups where people don't know each other. And they might find it difficult to share when they like or dislike something. So a lot of people with intellectual disabilities are told to be compliant or agreeable. And it means that they might really struggle to actually know what they like or dislike and to name that. And this game helps them practice sharing their opinion in a fun way.
That's correct, Katie.
Yeah. Sharing your opinion can be hard sometimes.
Yeah, it can be, and having a voice.
Yeah.
How? Participants were asked to pair up with the person next to them or form a group. Example, Katie. Each group is given a group pile of lemonade cards with different pictures. Beach, listening to music, movies, and planes.
So it's a big stack of cards.
How? One participant were asked to put down the picture in front of the other group members. If everyone agrees that they like the picture, they get a snap.
Yeah. So if I put down a picture of the beach, we'd say, Alison, do you like the beach?
I love the beach, Katie.
I also love the beach. So that would be a
snap.
Great. And if I said I hated the beach, that wouldn't be a snap.
That's correct, Katie. One person from the group is asked to share all the pictures the group liked with the wider group. Example, me, Jane, and Katie. Another round is then played focusing on dislikes.
Yeah, so if we both didn't like something, that would be a snap.
That's correct.
So things to consider in this game. There was some support needed to understand the game. So it's helpful for workers to do demonstration, like me and Alison just did, and support playing the game. So walking around, seeing if there's certain groups who are not understanding and just playing along with them for a time to see, to help them understand the game.
That's correct, Katie.
The other thing is we spent a lot of time at the beginning talking about permission to say when they dislike something. So saying, it's really great when you tell us you don't like something because then we can change it. It's really great when you tell us you don't like something because then we get to know you better. We really want to know both what you like and what you dislike, because a lot of people found it a lot easier to do the likes, but found the dislikes really hard.
Our learnings. Overall, participants really enjoyed the activities, and also the other learning is important to do one round of likes followed by another round of dislikes, not all together at the same time.
Yeah, because we tried to do that once, but it was just too confusing. So doing one round and then another round made it a lot clearer.
That's correct, Katie. Main activities.
Yes, it's the bulk of what we did.
Okay, so one of the activities that we did was the perfect worker and the perfect service activity. So in the Listen Up project, we wanted to make resources about how workers could be more accessible when working with people who have an intellectual disability. So this was one of the activities that we used to try and make those resources.
And this is available on posters.
Yeah.
One worker talked with the group about what makes the perfect service and worker. The other wrote everything on the board. We had lots of feedback, but people like to see their ideas on the whiteboard. This is an example of all the things that people thought a perfect worker would be. Example, never looks down on you, and also polite and calm voice.
Yeah, so in this activity, it was sort of a bit of a group brainstorm, really. So once we'd really explained what we were trying to do, and that the sky was the limit here, we really wanted to know what the best worker in the world would be like. What would they do? And writing people's thoughts on the board really values their ideas. And it was nice for the group to see all of the things that we want to see in a worker.
Yes. And one of the things is how we came up with the title it's in here, should be taught by those with ID.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's how we through some of these activities is how we sort of came up with the whole And You Think You're the Expert concept. So things to consider about this activity. Look, the brainstorms always can be a little bit tricky when writing on the board because not everybody can read. Also, we had people in the group who may have vision impairment or have difficulty seeing what's on the board. So I think going through and making sure you're reading out people's comments as you go is really helpful. So sort of saying, oh, look, okay, so we've got this, and this. What else do we think? And just making sure you're trying to make your writing as clear, legible, and easy to read as possible.
That's correct, Jane.
Our learning. So naming what would make the worker perfect was often easy for participants because the naming things that they don't like. So again, Katie sort of talked and Alison talked about this a little earlier. People often are really fearful of being critical. So that could even be saying something that you don't like about a worker, even in a space that's quite safe and it's encouraged to do so. People need a lot of practice to do that. Trying lots of ways to ask the question helped. So again, it's about checking for understanding. So instead of just asking the same question over and over again and expecting people to be able to come up with answers, it's around testing different questions, different language. And I think that's why it's helpful to have a team of people with you. So if you're just not getting it that day, if the language you were using is really difficult, someone might be able to jump in and say, oh, and have a new way of sort of reframing that question to make it more accessible. And having fun. Always, I think having fun with these activities is a really nice way to make everyone feel more comfortable and to get people involved. In all groups, there might be people who are a bit more dominant and are more, I guess, confident in sharing their ideas. So important to be encouraging those that aren't so confident to have their say as well.
And people liked the pictures we used.
Yeah, so we even asked what should the worker look like?
Yeah,
That's
a great point. Katie,
Fair effort, so body shape.
Yeah, Katie's quite the artist, so was able to draw.
As you saw before.
Yeah, I think that was my one. That was the one I did. But so that was fun as well. Like, does she have curly hair? Does she do this? So that was, yeah, I forgot about that. That's a really fun element of doing it too. Okay, so we tried out lots of different ways of giving feedback in these groups, didn't we, Alison?
That's correct. Example, I'm trying to remember, what did we use the red and green balls for, Jane?
That was we used that activity for people to sort of share if they liked something or they didn't like something.
Yeah.
So this was another way of that practicing giving that sort of critical feedback. So we tested out a whole lots of ways because people, as we've said, voicing that can be tricky. So it could be of people putting up a red ball if they didn't like something and a green ball if they did. Another one was group brainstorm. So this could be a way for people to share their ideas. Again, important to be watching for those people who aren't that confident doing that and perhaps either talking to them one-on-one or encouraging them to have their say. What else, Alison?
Drawings, because Jane and Katie love drawing.
Yeah.
Pick a card, any card, and share your idea one other person.
Yep. So we tried activities where you could draw your ideas, so make it quite a crafty activity. So we also have lots of different cards at Wild, so resources that people can have a look at pictures and words and actually pick something and share with the group as a way of giving feedback and sharing ideas with others in the group as well.
Checker, that was a fun thing. Everyone loved Checker.
So check out, what was it all about?
Activities were based around what we talked about in the workshop. For example, if we have talked about something that is upsetting, a checkout activity might be based around how to look after ourselves. What's the final one in that one, Jane?
So checkout was a really important thing that we did in all of our groups, and it's a way to sort of close the group, make sure everyone's feeling calm. So if we had a tricky group, one of the ones we would use, Alison, is doing something uplifting. So that might be talking about something you're really proud of, or something you really like about yourself, or something you're really happy with about the project. So again, we would try and use lots of different ways for people to give this feedback: pictures, brainstorm, craft. What else did we do, Alison?
I love different things of the project.
Yeah. So if we've reviewed something that we had made, so we're making, as you know, a lot of resources. So a lot of this process was coming back to the group and saying, what do you think of this? What do we need to change? Our checkout activity might be naming something that you've done about these resources that you're really happy with.
What the experts thought. Feedback about co-design activities. Apparently, the themes from evaluation were: participants reported feeling heard and believed in the workshops. Participants reported having increased confidence in their role as experts. And Katie, what's the final one?
Participants expressed feeling supported to have their say in designing the podcasting booklet. That was across just about every group. We saw those same themes. So we asked them in a lot of the feedback forms, what was your favorite thing from the workshop today? And here's what they said.
I liked that all the disabled people got to answer the questions. I felt like I was listened to and seeing people and the food.
Yeah, so they were pretty common themes there: feeling listened to, feeling heard. But also this idea that all disabled people got to answer the question. So a lot of people were shocked that there wasn't other people in the room who weren't disabled answering questions too, and that kind of shifted people's expectations that the people who were being asked the questions, who were being asked what they thought, were all people with disabilities.
Yep, and a lot of people love the food.
Yes, you're a big advocate for the food.
Who isn't?
We did have good food.
That's great. Having input into the group, working on the questions and having a go at it. I even had a go at it. Learning to speak up and also playing the game at the end.
Yeah. So that's everything.
Thank you very much for watching this lovely workshop online program. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.